Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Collective, where it's first in the morning, as in 2 minutes past noon. I'm Del Salvador, and this is the new album from King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, Laminated Denim. I say new album in quotes because I recorded a review on the new album yesterday, and now I wake up and there's another new album. But that do be how they be, though. That be how they do 'em. And this is the second of three this month. The last one being a week or two away, so I have some time to review other things. But this is good. This is really good. Let me tell you why. The last one, Ice, Death, Planets, whatever, the one from yesterday, it's somehow longer than their band name. It was alright. And it wasn't that it was bad, it was more so that it was kind of the same thing. All the songs were pretty one dimensional, except for two, Iron Lung and Mycelium, and etc., etc., etc. It was alright. This is a lot shorter. It is two songs, each 15 minutes and 1 second, and I don't know what the heck's going on. I really don't. First off, it's good. It is really good. It's good. And it's good because not only is it different enough from the other album to distinguish themselves from each other, but this had what I was looking for, where the songs have dimension. It's not just the same general sound for like 10 minutes. These songs are longer, for sure, longer than any of the songs on the last one, but there's a lot more going on, that it's not boring 2 minutes in and you have to slog through like 11 more minutes. Like, it's actually valid to listen to the whole tracks. And I'm kind of hesitant to say tracks. I kind of want to say track singular because it's 1/2 hour and 2 second long song. It's one song. And this is where I get confused on what the heck's going on, because, well, first, another reason why this album's good is because the first track, The Land Before Timeland, is kind of a setup kind of for the next track, the last track, the second track, Hypertension. And basically what this album does is it's very similar to certain things Swans would do in their later works, like their later albums, most recent ones, like songs like Screenshot, for example, off To Be Kind, where it's basically the whole song is the build up. At the very end, you kind of get the release of it, so to speak. And I could tell early on that what they were doing is kind of slowly building and building. They're not doing it the exact same as Swans do. When Swans do, it's very incremental differences and progression. It'll be the same, like, very simple, like, two-note riff over and over and over, and they might add, like, a second guitar or, like, a snare on the beat, like, very little things over the course of 10 minutes. And this is basically the same goal. It reaches the same end goal, where they're not using the same formula. Where basically they're doing their same, jam bandy kind of stuff, same jazzy stuff, but it's slowly amping up more and more and more in intensity. And before the first track was even over, I could tell by the name Hypertension that it's going to end in a bang. And it got pretty close to that. And I think it could have been done a little better, a little bit. I think they could have definitely started a lot more calmer and ended a lot more heavier. But then again, I don't really know where the start and end is at all, because. So this is where I get confused, because the first track is called The Land Before Timeland. Obviously, period, The Land Before Time, prehistoric dinosaur movie, whatever. But they have another album called Made in Timeland, and there's a song called Timeland, and there's a song called Smoke and Mirrors, and it is also, from my understanding, a two-track album that's about a half an hour, that are two 15-minute tracks that also kind of lead to each other, So they also the album starts from something and then also ends leading up to something. And while this starts pretty cleanly, Hypertension ends, and just with production, there's a bit of a cut, so I can tell it leads into something else. And after listening to Ming Timeland a little bit, just to the starts and ends of the songs, to try and figure out what order is what, it doesn't line up, and I don't know what they're doing. And that's not exactly out of character for King Gizzard, because they do a lot of cool concepts and themes and things like that, and it's not out of the realm of possibility for them to be linking up certain albums. There's already been talk of like how certain albums are part of the Gizverse, quote unquote, which is their own little in-universe thing. There's also certain albums that melodically call back to other albums with certain motifs and things. So I wouldn't put it past them to be linking a couple albums, and they're especially hinting at it with tracks like Timeland and the Lampore Timeland and stuff like that. They're definitely hinting at it, and this is pretty good. I I think of it. I think kind of like Swan Song, like again, like going back to Screenshot. It's not that there's a big explosion at the end. It's the whole song is one crescendo, and that kind of just ends, so to speak. And I think that's what they're going for here, because there's never a point where it's like a obvious release of tension. It's just a constant building of tension, and it doesn't really leave, and doesn't really explode out either. It just kind of builds very steadily, very steadily. There's obviously little peaks and valleys, but it's very much building to something. And then again, by the end, it kind of just ends and moves into something else. Couldn't tell you what, but with Hypertension being the name of the track, I totally get it. I think that's exactly what they're going for. It's not exactly a release, but just creating more and more and more and more and more attention, and not letting it be released, which I find is really cool. And again, this is like their usual stuff as of late. Playing is on point. Everything's done really good as usual, and the thing just comes a bit more together, more focused on this one. And while the last album again is not bad by any means, I just think that you'd have like King Gizzard is one of those bands where again every album is very different. You know, they have some thrash metal, some folk stuff, some jazz stuff, some pop stuff, some psychedelic rock stuff, some hip hop stuff. So it kind of no one person's gonna like every single album. And even for me, where I listen to a lot of everything, I'll go from something like Swans to like Rihanna to something like Eminem to something like I don't know Dave Matthews Band to something like I don't know some Japanese stuff to like some Chinese stuff to German stuff. I'm all over the place, you know, rock, jazz, rap, EDM, pop, everywhere. Even for me, there's not. I'm still within this rule of I'm not gonna like every single album. I think the last one is definitely good, just not my thing because it's a lot more jam bandy, more jazz oriented, and this album still being jazz oriented, but there's a bit more dynamics. It's not as self indulgent. There is enough changes to keep you interested, and because the ever rising tension, that also helps to keep you interested. And this is really good. I'm thinking maybe 7 out of 10. I haven't been actually scoring anything in video because I keep forgetting. But I'd probably say, yeah, 7 out of 10. Really good. I'm looking forward to the third album this month. I'm hoping it's really good. That's about it. So, yeah, that's about it.